Alright guys and gals, here we are. It's Wednesday, September 2nd, and it's 6:32 in the AM, and I am working feverishly to get Matt's build done. The main buildings, the side buildings, all the accessories are on the building. The only problem I am having right now is trying to figure out what would be the best way for me to get from the hopper unloading shed to the silos. So I have to think about that because it has to cross a track to get there. So I am deciding what I am going to do right now, and so I hope you guys will follow along, and let's see what I come up with. Anyhow, stay tuned and let's get back down to the workbench and start work. We'll be right back. Hey guys and gals, welcome back to another Vinny Vid Productions video. I am Vinny, your host, also known as BNSF 6951. This is a model railroad channel. So if you guys are interested in run-up sessions, scratch builds, live streams, prototypes, and everything related to model railroads, this is the channel for you. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button down there. Hit the bell that's up there and give me those too. Anyhow, with all that being said, let's get on with the video, so come on in. This Vinny Vid production brought to you by Yankee Dabbler. For all your model railroad needs, check out Yankee Dabbler. Don't forget, 7% discount with BNSF 6951. And by Highways and Byways, awesome street graphics for your roads and streets on your model railroad layout. If you guys are looking for sophisticated model railroad electronics, Logic Rail Technologies has what you need. For a 5% discount on certain items, use code BNSF6951. Alright guys, what you're looking at in front of you right now are all the flat sections of the roof, flat roof sections of the build that I'm doing for Matt. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to take care of this. I'm going to give it a pebble or a gravel type roof, and what I'm going to use is this N scale fine ballast and a can of cheap beige paint. I bought this at the local hardware store. It wasn't one of the big boxes, just a local hardware store. It was like $1.98. It's pretty good actually. And we're going to use the paint as a adhesive for the ballast, and we'll see how this is going to work. All right, let me turn this on. Alright guys, so what I did right now is put the ballast on top of there. I'm going to let that dry up, knock off all the excess, see if it needs to be changed and filled up, and then I'm going to hit it with some spray adhesive. Stay tuned and we'll be back in a couple of minutes. Alright guys, so if you did it right, this is what you should wind up with. Now you can see there's a couple of bare spots over there. When I hit this with the adhesive, I'll go ahead and touch up those spots, and then this will all be locked down forever. Anyhow, very easy way to get some detail on your roof. Alright, hang out, and we'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye for now. Alright guys, I just want to show you how we're going to mount some smokestacks on this pebble roof or gravel roof, whatever you want to call it. But before I do that, if you remember in the last video I showed you how I did these bends in the tube and it didn't kink it by putting a piece of wire inside of there. Well, guess what? You can pull the wire out. I found that out by accident today. So once you get the curves done, you could just pull your wire. After it cools down, you could pull your wire out. Just a little bit of information on that. Anyhow, I want to install this big fat smokestack in addition to the ones that come with the kit on this model. But because I got the gravel roof, it'd be kind of hard to actually glue this to here. And I don't want a big gaping hole to put this in to have it stand. So I'm going to do a step down method. Sounds crazy, but yeah, this is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to take this tube and I'm going to take this tube and put him inside of here. And that'll go all the way down. Then when that's in there and it's glued in, I'm going to take this next size tube that's smaller and put him in there. Once that is in there and secure, the final piece is going to be this little piece of rod right here, and that's going to go in here. Okay, and so from drilling, get this apart right now. So from drilling a hole this big to a hole this big is much better. If you ever want to take this out, you can, and it's a smaller hole to cover up if you need to do that. So anyhow, how we're going to do this is I already have a couple of tick marks on here of where I want to drill this, and thanks to my buddy Engineer Hall, who gave me a heads up on this guy, and I really like this tool, this pencil type electric screwdriver. And I got this off of Amazon. And let me tell you something, this is a pretty neat tool. So, what we're going to do is I got this block of wood under here so I don't mess up my mat too bad. So we're just going to get ready and set and go. And we are through. Now, this drill also has a reverse. If you see the yellow knob, if I push it forward, it goes in normal. If I push it backwards, it's unscrewing. So, we have our first hole drilled. And now we'll go ahead and do the second hole. Calm down, Vincent. And I tried to eyeball it to make sure that they're even across and even from the back and from the front and all that stuff, but I don't get too crazy because this is a scratch build and slight errors are okay. Alright, so now we have our two holes. So the next thing we would do is take our smallest one, which is the rod, and make sure you use rod, and stick it in the hole. It should go in this hole because I did measure it. There you go. And you'll put him down as far as you want to put him, but he's pretty tight as you can see. So even if I left him at that, push him all the way down. Now of course it wouldn't be that tall. I would take the next size of tube and put the tube over that. Now these tubes that I'm putting on now will be permanently installed in the outer tube, and then take this tube and put him over that. I know it seems like a lot of work, but trust me, it'll be worth it in the end. And then we just take this guy and slide him over the whole shooting match. And look at that. You now have a smokestack on your roof that you can take out if you wanted to. Cool? Cool. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and continue on with this. Hello, come on out. All right, there's one. And now, you could do the same thing with the next size tube smaller, which is one of the ones I used on the interior of that one. And just the same process, just keep stepping it down until you get to a hole that you wouldn't mind either having or easy to cover up. So, with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and drill these next guy out. I'll actually go ahead and glue all this stuff together and go ahead and make another smokestack. Be back shortly. Alright guys, we're going to continue on with the build for mass. We're going to move on to the silos. Now these are just PVC pipe and they are 18 scale feet in diameter, outer diameter, and they are 78 feet tall in scale. What I did was rotated these until I got the best fit where they are perfectly perpendicular to each other, and what I did then was I put a little tick mark on there. You can see that right there. Anyhow, the next thing I'm going to do is these already have a coat of white primer on them. I am going to go ahead and sand this down right down the center here to get down to the plastic. And I have not done it on this one yet, but I will be doing it now. And I'm just going to use my sanding stick. So basically I just want to get the paint off. And we're going to use this Gorilla super glue to put it together, and I'll show you all the process as we go along. And then basically I'm just roughing it up so the glue has a good surface to catch onto. But there will be another step I'm going to do here, because I feel that the amount of surface that this is going to glue to right here is not going to be enough. So I'm just going to take this stripped styrene right here and I'm going to put that on there, and it'll kind of give me a little bit more gluing area, I hope. That's what I'm shooting for. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and do this and get this process going. So we're just going to take my Gorilla Glue, and let me see what I'm going to do here. Put this guy here so it don't roll. Twist him up a bit more. Now I didn't take very much off of that. I just took the top coat of paint off. And so now I'm going to take my super glue. And I like this one because it's got the brush attached to it, which is pretty cool. And I'm going to be using a lot of this, so that looks good right there. And we'll just take this guy and we'll put him right there. Just like that. So now I have increased the gluing surface by this much, and hopefully that'll work. Plus there'll be one other little trick I'm going to do when I start putting this guy together. I want to make it one unit. So we're going to glue these two together, and then when they are glued together down the seam here, I'm going to use this angle, and that'll cover the seam number one, and it'll also give you some more gluing surface here and here to adhere to these silos. Now, so I'm going to let this dry up, and I'll go ahead and attach this one to this one and clamp them together for a little while, and we'll go from there. Stay tuned and we'll be back here in a minute. Alright guys, now that this piece is secured on here, we're going to go ahead and secure it, the two of them together. And again, like I said, I put them to the best fit where they are no gap in between the space right here. So I'll go ahead and smear some glue on here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my grid to make sure that these are even with each other. Put that there, turn you around a little bit, turn you around a little bit, and I'll put you together right there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a clamp here. And we will put a clamp on the bottom. Alright, so now that they are glued together this way, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this angle, and as you can see, if I put it in there, it hides the seam, plus it gives me a whole bunch more gluing area to hold these guys together. So, with all that being said, we're going to go ahead and do this next. I'm going to go ahead and cut this down to its proper size. And I find, to me anyhow, using my chisel blade to cut these guys seems to work out okay. So I just put it there and put him down and just go ahead and push. And there you go. So there'll be one of these on each side. It'll fit in there just like that. And I will go ahead and smear some glue in there. Alright. Don't look like we got enough on here. Alright. And now we'll go ahead and stick this little angle piece in here. Now we'll just plop it down. And we'll let that dry up, and then we'll do the same thing on the other side. And then we'll take care of the top. We're going to put I don't know, some sort of little shack or building up on top of there so it has a way to get from the elevator to the silos. So we'll let this dry up, and I'll bring you back when that's done. Alright guys, what you see now is I went ahead and added the top to this, and as you can see, I did add that angle iron or angle piece of plastic down the center, and I added the center down here. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and trim this to conform to the diameter of this, and for that I got a brand new blade in here. And just to let you know, let me see if I can show you this real quick. If you guys can see that, there's 4 blades that I have used on this project so far. Just want to let you know that changing your blade is always important. Anyhow, let's see if we can work this out. So we're just going to start on one of the sides here and just carefully trace this out. And we'll just do this until we get it all cut. And we'll just keep doing the same thing until we get it enough where we can break it away. And then once this is all cut down, we will go ahead and sand it down. Sorry if my big fat head's in the way. Alright. This is going to take a little bit of work, but the end result will be nice. And again, to secure this piece of plastic, I did use the Gorilla Glue. So far, I seem to like that glue, especially because it's got a brush attached to it. Now I wonder, I don't think that's in far enough. No, it's not. Alright, well I'm going to go ahead and continue on that, and I'll bring it back when that's all cut out. So stay tuned and we'll be back shortly. Alright guys, what you're looking at right now is the pretty much completed silos that I am doing. As you can see, I cut that out. Nice, sanded it all down, looks really nice. I did go ahead and paint this with that perfect gray Rust-Oleum product. I like it because it doesn't it's not really a pronounced hard gray. And that's only the first coat. I'm going to have to do a second coat, but as you can see, I probably have to sand this down just a little bit more, and maybe even use a little putty up here to kind of make this all look like it's one piece. Anyhow, that's the silos. Now, it's time, I guess, for me to reveal the color of this build that I am doing. So with that being said, I am going to show you the unloading shed and show you guys how I intend to connect the elevator to the silos. Alright, so here we go. Here is the shed. Now, what I have here right now is it's just got masking tape up here to hold this, but I'm thinking of a solid aluminum tube to go across like that, and then I'll put this extra little building on top of here with that going inside to make it look like I said. But I see I need to probably just make this guy a little bit taller. Now, how can I do that when it's already attached, you say? Well, I'll show you how we're going to do that. I have to think about shipping these models that I build. So anything that sticks up is always vulnerable to getting broken. So what I did with this guy is I made him detachable. And you see I have this little tube down here on the bottom, and I put a receptacle in there on the bottom. If you guys can see that, I think you can. And all he has to do, well, put it the right way first of all, just take this, plug it in there, and voila, he's got his elevator standing up. Anyhow, I'm still got to figure out how I'm going to do. If I decide to do it in this configuration, then I have to do all of this seams on here to make it look cohesive with the rest of it. And then I have a problem of, I don't know what color to paint this puppy. My worst problem when I do scratch builds is always figuring out colors to do stuff. Now, I had taken a short video clip to show Matt what I was doing with his build, and when he saw the color, he just fell in love with the color, and I'm glad I actually did this. Problem I did have with the paint is when I painted the main building, I had mixed up the green paint with white. And then when I tried to do my stripe, the way I always do my stripe is put masking tape on, spray over it, and peel the tape off. Well, it didn't, the masking tape didn't work very well, so it was bleeding through. So I had to repaint this guy. And when I repainted it, of course, I didn't mark down my proportions of green paint to white paint. So this is actually a bit darker than the original building. Anyhow, with all that being said, I think I'm gonna go with this configuration right here, and we'll see how it goes. So with all that being said, stay tuned and we will be back shortly. Alright guys, we're going to move on to the outbuildings now. We're going to kind of finish them off, and there's a good possibility that I might do the reveal of this build in this video. So with that being said, what you're looking at here right now are the doors that I am going to be putting together to put on the outbuildings. This one is going to get one trackside, one on this end, and I believe two on the other end, on the backside for truck facility. Anyhow, what I'm going to be using for this is number 244 half round and number 132 30 thousandths by 40 thousandths strip styrene, and that we're going to use as the trim that goes around the door. Our ultimate goal is to finish something that's going to look like that. And when this is done, I got a mock-up of the platform right here. We put it on here like that, and look at that. That looks like a pretty good door to me. And what I did for the door itself is I took the material that I made the building out of and just turned it 90 degrees, and I have this end product. So I think that looks pretty good. So with that being said, what we're going to do is we're going to take this number 132, and we're just going to run it alongside each one of these pieces. And it's, what did I say it was? It's 30 thousandths this way and 40 thousandths this way. So we want the tall end to be sticking up, so it goes a little bit past the actual door itself to make it look like trim work. So what we'll do is we'll put one on here like that, And again, I'm not going to measure these. I'm just going to go ahead and kind of eyeball it and then just chop them up. There's one. Just cut them all at one time. Remember what I said, you should have the taller end standing on edge. So it looks, you know, so it gives the door a little bit of depth. Alright, and I think one more. See, I already got this one started. I'm just waiting for the glue to dry so I can trim it. But my original intention was to put a backer on the back side of these doors, because where the roll-up part of the door attaches to the door, it's kind of flimsy. It's got a real small gluing surface. So I was going to put a backing on it, but then I realized that, hey, when I glue this to the building, it'll be okay. Alright, so anyhow, we got all our pieces cut now. And next thing is to do is to put these all together. So again, my favorite glue, or adhesive, whatever you want to call it. And this has been open for a little while, so what I'll do is I take my little pin that comes with the glue and I'll stuff it in the hole. And I showed you guys another way to clean this out, but if you had the pin, this is the best way to do it. Just go ahead in and screw it up and down a couple of times, and we should be good to go. Now this glue is almost empty. I'm just going to try and get it. I do have a new one here ready to go, but I'm going to finish this one off first. Alright, so now we're going to take one of these doors and we're going to make one of them a 10-foot door that's going to go trackside on the other building. So let's go ahead and measure this one out. We want 10 feet on this one. I had cut them all originally at 12 feet, but I noticed, again, with the proportion thing that I always talk about, when I put the 12-foot on this building here, it was way too high. Because this building is only 20 feet tall. If you take 4 feet away from here, and then where the line is, there's another 3 feet down, it looked kind of cramped, so that's why I decided to go with a 10-foot door on trackside. So we'll just go ahead and mark this guy at 10. Alright. And now we'll take this guy. And of course, every time I need to get something, it always hides on me. Alright, where are you? There you go. Right in front of my face. Alright, and so what I do is I actually square this up with my mat. This way I know my cut is going to be as square as possible. And then what I do is I'll line it up on the 10-foot mark, and also I will look at the distance from the steel ruler to the next line and make sure that the distance is the same, and that's telling me that this is pretty square. So now I'll just go ahead and do this. Alright, and now we have another 10-foot door. Now what we need to do is make sure that these are square, so when we put the roll-up mechanism, it'll sit square. So we'll just go ahead and take this file and just file it down just a little bit. Okay? Alright, so the next step is to take our trim and do the trim on the sides. Alright, and always I tell you guys, always go away from the finished surface when you're putting glue on a small area such as this area right here. So I will go to the back. Again, I have to hold this glue almost straight up and down now. I didn't clean out very well. There we go. They should make glue in color. I know it sounds weird, but for us blind folks, it would be a lot better to see. Like I said, we're going to put the tall edge on the taller side of the styrene standing up. And we just put him on there like that. Make sure he's even at the top. You can always go a little bit more and then trim it down. Remember, bigger is always better. You could always make it smaller. All right, and we'll do the same thing here. Come on. It's saying, I'm almost done. Give me mercy. And you could feel, when you roll it in your hand, you could actually feel which is the tall side. Even if you can't see it, you should be able to feel it. All right, get you up to the top. All right, and so now, this one here is just about done. I wait for it to dry a little bit, and I will take my roll-up section and put him on there and push everybody down flush. And we'll go ahead and glue him on there. This guy's not. All right, and again, I'm going to use my grid to make sure everything is square. That looks pretty good to me. And then we take our roll-up housing, I guess you would call it, and we just put him right there on top. And that looks pretty good. So now I'll just take him and put him on the wax paper so I can glue that, and then we'll go ahead and trim it up. But anyhow, that's how I'll do all these doors, and I'll bring you back when all the doors are finished. Again, I always have a problem with what color am I going to paint this stuff, you know. But I guess I'll figure that out as I go along. So stay tuned, and we will be back in a minute. All right, guys, I had decided that because this is such a huge factory, or mill, he's going to be making a food processing plant, that I need to be adding some more details on the structure itself. So I decided to add a couple of cylindrical who's-a-ma-watches that does whatchamacallit, and I'm going to put it on one of the levels of the extension buildings that I built, the scratch builds. So I'm going to start with these two guys that are already glued together. Looks like a double-barrel shotgun. And what I used for that was this number 232 tube, and it's 3/8 inch tube. Now, another thing I'd like to bring out is that there are certain times when I just don't want to waste a $3 or $4 piece of plastic. So what I'll do is I'll go to Walmart or Home Depot or any hardware store practically would have these. They're for sale signs or postage signs. And this one cost, I did a video on this a while ago, cost 88 cents. It's a 1/2 millimeter. Now I would not use this for building a structure because it's way too flimsy, but what I would use it for is stuff like what I'm going to do with this right now. And what I'm going to do with this is add a top and bottom, and I'm going to trim it down just the way I did with the silos. But the bottom I will leave as the rectangle and probably build a small platform. My intention is to have some piping that's going to come out of the building and go to these two guys, and then at the bottom go out into the building itself. So from one part of the building to another part of the building via these vessels. Whatever they do, I don't know. I'm just putting them there for the detail. So with all that being said, I'm just going to go ahead and glue these guys on here. I'm not going to do that on camera, and I'll show you the finished product when I get done. Be back in a few. Alright guys, what you're looking at now is the doors that I had made, and they're assembled and on the building and painted. I painted in the same colors I painted the roof, that perfect gray color. And yeah, this is going to be trackside. If you guys are wondering why it's not going all the way down to the bottom, it's because there's going to be a platform there, like that. And there's a people door down there, and this platform wraps around this side. And so when you come around to this side, this will be a truck unloading or loading facility. And that also, like I said, will have the wraparound that comes here. Finally, on the back side, we have two doors that go down to the ground, and those will be for trucks also. Anyhow, I did add a little stack pipe up there and a little cyclone vent up there. I did a little touch up, and unfortunately the green is not the same color, it's a little darker, but that's okay because maybe that's the way it is in life. Anyhow, the Vinny built stripe on there. And so we'll move on to the next part of this build, and that's going to be to do the same thing to the other outbuilding like this, and then we're going to do some more detail stuff. I got some stuff planned that I want to put on this building because it is a food processing plant. I think it needs some more detail. Anyhow, to see what that detail is, stay tuned and we'll be back in a few minutes. Alright guys, what you're looking at now are some of the extra details I'm going to put on this build for Matt. This here was a resin tank that I had from someplace, somewhere, I don't remember where, but I had it in my stash of parts. So I'm going to use that, and as you can see I got pipes coming in and coming out. This is going to be coming out of the main building with this long pipe, and it's going to go to one of the scratch built buildings. Again, it's just a tube, and I put a top on it with the for sale sign and a bottom on there. And then these here are the guys I just showed you previously that I was going to start doing. They'll go on another section of my extra extension building of the main building. These will go there, and so will this one. I decided since this is going to be a food processing plant, all the piping that I'm going to be doing here is going to be painted with a metal color, like aluminum color, to represent stainless steel. Anyhow, with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and paint all of these guys up, and we're getting close. We might have a reveal in this video. So I'm really looking forward to that because I think, my personal opinion, this looks like one of the best builds I've done yet. Anyhow, with all that being said, a little pat on the back is always a nice thing. We'll be back in a few minutes. Alright guys, so what you're looking at now is basically the configuration when this is on the layout. So the buildings would come out here and here. And this would be trackside where the loading and unloading platform would be, and then this would be the unloading shed for the hoppers. So I have to account for enough space in here for him to put his track down, and I don't know if he's using regular track like Atlas or Microengineering, or if he is using Kato Unitrack. Now I have a piece of Kato Unitrack that I can stick in there. And if he's going to use that, that's going to be a problem with the unloading shed. So even if he's going to use this in there, I still have to allow for it. So from the inside here of the elevator to the center of the silos is 2 inches. I want to make it so this guy, if I use this type of delivery system or if I use piping, I'm not sure yet. But I have to make sure that it also can be adjusted in and out, so he has flexibility as far as what kind of track he's using. Now the reason why I said this is going to be a problem if he uses Unitrack or whatever Kato calls it, there's not going to be enough height to get a hopper in there, I don't think. And if there is, there'd be very little. I'll have to check that out. If there isn't enough room, then we're going to have to kind of build a platform for this guy to get him up a little higher. I'll have to ask him what kind of track he's using. Anyhow, so what I decided to do is, first of all, I'm going to put some sort of a shack up on top of the silos, and then figure out how to get the product from here to the shack and then into the silos. So with all that being said, let's take a break for a minute, and I will be back shortly. Alright guys, so at this point in the build, I'm just winging it right now. I'm going to make a little platform up here that will fit on top of the silos, and I have some of the metal siding left over from the rest of the build, and so I'm going to do a little bit of a shack up here, and like I said, I'm just going to be winging this right now. So these dimensions are 2 1/4 inches this way, and then it's going to be 1 1/2 this way. So with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and start cutting up some plastic, and let's see how this is going to evolve. So with all that being said, I'll be back here in a minute. Let me get ready and to get going on this, okay? Be right back. All right, guys, well, check it out. I now have the drawings for the building that I'm going to put on top of the silos. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these out, and I think I'm going to put a people door up there, and I'm going to put a space for, as I go along, if I want to use this guy, I'm going to have to make him go inside this building that I'm doing, so I have to do a cutout for that. But I'm not sure yet, so let's just start with the basics and get a building built, and then we'll go from there. Anyhow, I got a new blade in here. As I always recommend, you guys always put a new blade in when you do a project. I think this is number 5 for this project so far. Who's counting, all right? All right, so we will go ahead and put that right there on that line, just like that. And in case you guys want to know, you can use your mat to square stuff up. So I mean, I can do that. I can just take this and put it like right here on this line, and just scoot him over there, make sure it's level on the bottom here, and then I can just use the grid line to make my cut if this don't move. No, come on. All right, here we go. All right, so there we go. I could feel when it's starting to get through, the knife kind of jumps a little bit. Yeah, we're through now. All right, so the rest I can just pop off like that. All right, we're gonna cut the 2 side walls out now. And then we'll cut the 2 end walls out. Let's put this little building together. Well, before I do that, I'll need to cut out. If I want to put a people door, I'm going to have to cut out for that. And if I want to put I don't know what you guys' opinion is. I kind of like the conveyor going across rather than pipes. I think that looks a little bit more hefty, or more, I don't know, industrial. I don't know. To me, it just looks better. It's very important to get your lines as straight as you can so your building comes out square. All right, very good there. I'm not going to do a fast forward on this. I'm going to do this build from when I cut the plastic until it's a structure, and see how long it actually takes. All right, there's one wall. Oops, hey, come back here. All right, I was supposed to have 4 of these. Where'd the other one go? I'll find it later. All right, next cut. If you're going to use your grid, you need to make sure that you are level on your horizontal before you do your vertical. And then always eyeball to see if the distance at the top and the bottom look the same. That's where I told you, you know, the 3 most important tools: your hands, your eyes, and your brain. You need to use all of those tools that you got, guys. All right. 2 walls, I always put them next to each other, and it seems that one is just a trifle bigger than the other, so I'm going to have to trim that down. And also a good way to do it is to put it smooth side to smooth side. Yeah, I'm about a millimeter bigger on one, so we'll have to take care of that. So that means I cut one too short. Is that what happened? Come on, Vinny, you didn't make a mistake, did you? Let's see here. Yeah, we got 1 inch right there. That's what I wanted. And what about this guy? This guy is 1 1/16. Ah, what a shame. And you know what? If you look close enough, you can see the line that I didn't cut it on the line. I cut it outside the line. So I'm going to go ahead and trim that right now. I'm just going to use the line that's there. And we'll go see how it works out. Now when you're doing a trim piece that's so small like this, you need to start really light so your blade starts making your groove in there before you start actually pushing down on it. There you go. Now, let's see how that worked out. Ah, very good, very, very good. Hey, all right. We're looking real good. Yeah. All right. So now I can go ahead and cut these guys out. I'm going to start needing extra duty glasses here pretty soon. Alright, we're just going to cut this whole piece right out. I should have did it the other way, but oh well. Alright, so just got to cut these angles out now. There we go. Oops, I shouldn't have did that. I probably broke the point on this blade. Holy mackerel, look at that. Very, very nice. There's one. Alright, and now we need to do number 2. This is very important, is to try and get your cuts as square as possible, as straight as possible, so your build always comes out pretty much square. I mean, there might be sometimes, there might be a little bit off, but for the most part, try and get it as square as you can. Alright, 2 more cuts and my walls will be cut out. All right, there you go. All 4 walls all cut out. Make sure that these are the same. And they are. All right, I'm going to take a short break. Of course, nature is calling. And then we'll come back and we'll assemble this building. All right, we'll be back shortly. All right, guys, I got all my pieces all cut out. Nature has been taken care of, and now we're going to go ahead and start putting this puppy together. And then we'll see how it's going to fit. This is the first, I'm not going to do a mock-up on this. It's just too small to even do a mock-up. If it works, it works. If it don't, I start over. That's all. What am I looking for? I am looking for my glue. And where is the glue? Hello, glue. Uh-oh. Calling all cars, calling all cars. Haha, he's hiding on me. I found it. There it is. All right. I want the front walls, again, I show you you guys this all the time. I want the front walls to sit on top of the side walls. So that means we'll put our support on the side walls themselves. And we will go all the way down to the bottom and leave room on the top for supports for the roof. So just go ahead and do this. And I'm sorry that this video is going to be so long again, but I think I'm so close that I'm going to do the reveal in this video, because everything else is pretty much done. It's just this was the part that was agonizing me because I couldn't think of how I wanted to do this. I'm losing my touch, I guess. I don't know. And again, guys, I put it on something flat, push down, make sure it's even, and there we go. Now we gotta go down to the bottom. Now check it again this way. All right. And we'll do the same on this guy. Now again, I don't know if I'm going to put a people door in here or not, but I have to decide that before I actually put this on this floor that I built, or that I cut out. So you push them down that way, and push them down that way. Guys, one of these bottles of glue lasts me forever, and you know how many builds I do. So the $7.50 or the $8.50 that I pay for this glue is well worth it. I mean, I complained about the price, but it lasts so long. In fact, I still have some left in the other bottle that I was using, and I will keep that just in case I need to have some. If I'm in a different place on my layout and I need some glue, I could have that in there. All right, so we're going to let those dry out for a minute, and then we're going to go ahead and put those guys on and see how it fits on the floor. And then I'll figure out where we're going to go from there. Like I said, I'm totally winging this part. At least the other part, all the other parts, I had some sort of idea what I wanted to do. But yeah. I should give you guys a quick shot to see what it looks like, because the sun is right on it right now. Let's see if I can get you around there. There you go. Isn't that pretty? And that's the back side, guys. Yeah, buddy. All right. All right. Well, I'm not going to keep the camera going while these guys are drying up. So I'm also going to put some on the bottom, so I have places to glue it to on here. So I'm using this number 175. It's a square. It's 100 thousandths by 100 thousandths. So it's basically my only go-to whatchamacallit that I use for bracing. All right, we'll be back in a little bit. All right, guys, so I went ahead and I decided I'm going to use the chute that I have already built on the conveyor, which is this guy here. So I went ahead and I cut the hole out for him here, and then I also cut a people door out. Now, how people are going to get up there, I have no clue, but at least there's a door up there in case people have to get up there to do something. Yeah, so let me see, I need to file this down a little bit in the back here. Alright, so we're ready to put this building together. And like I said earlier, we're going to put the front or the end wall over the side wall. So basically we're just going to do that, and we'll just start putting this puppy together. So these have been dry for about an hour now, so they should be good to go. And we'll just put a little bit of glue there all the way up to the top. And I should be using my squaring jig, which might not be a bad idea. I think I'll get that. Alright. Alright, so here's my squaring jig. Let's see if we can get all this stuff in here, including that guy and that guy. Alright. So now let's turn him around this way, and we will put, these magnets are so strong. Alright. Alright, so what we want to do is put him in here like this, and I think we're just going to need one magnet to hold it in place, because it looks good right now. We could use a magnet here. There you go. Alright, we'll let that guy dry up. And then, I guess on this side, would that work? No, it has to be this way for it to work. So we have to do it like this. Put him there, and put him there. Hey. Hey, why isn't that going all the way down? Aha. Alright. So put him there, and put him there, and that should work out. So, let's put some glue on here. I'm talking to myself, as you can hear, guys. I'm not answering myself, so I guess I'm okay. Alright. Put him flush up against there, put him flush up against there, and just put a magnet in there, and holy mackerel. Wow. That guy shot almost off the table. I don't think I'm liking the way that's looking. That's looking okay. Alright. Alright, so now we just got the waiting game again. I think I'm going to stand these up from now on, because these are really a pain in the nut. But there you go. And my door, let's put my door over there. Alright, well, I guess we just have to wait until these guys are all dried up before we can carry on to the next step. So with that being said, we'll be back in a little bit. Alright guys, what you're looking at now is the available space I had to do this build for Matt. And as you can see right back here is where he wants to put this mill that I'm building for him. And from this track to the back of his layout is 5 inches. Well, I already told Matt that he's going to have to add on to that 5 inches there. The lengthwise is okay, 68 inches, no problem. The total size of the build that I have done for him is from the outside of the unloading shed to the backside of the building is 8.5 inches. And the length he wants a gigantic, so I gave him gigantic. The length is 24 inches total. Anyhow, I have it set up on my kitchen island here, basically how it's going to be configured on his layout. And so we'll go ahead and see how this is going to look. So stay tuned. I'm going to go ahead and move the camera around and start pointing out some of the details that I have done on this build. Anyhow, with all that being said, stay tuned and we will be back shortly. Alright guys, what we're going to do first is we're going to take a walk around of the entire complex. This is looking at it from the front of Matt's layout right here. Sorry, I had to move around everything that's in my way. But the station that you see right there in front of you, this guy right here, I'm going to be building a station for that, and that's what this building is going to look like. Small little station that I'm going to be building. That's going to be a total scratch build. But before we get on to that, I am going to, sorry about all that extra movement, just give you a walk around of the entire complex. Now, like I said, this is looking at it from the front of his layout, and from that end to that end is 24 inches. And from this side of the unloading shed to the back side of the building is 8.5 inches. I just have everything all staged up there just to give you an idea of what this is all going to look like. What I did here was give him space for two 50-foot boxcars, one door, but the platform is big enough for 2 cars. Here we can also do a hopper or a boxcar, whatever it needs to be right there. And then a separate little shack warehouse right here with one boxcar. And then we have 3 hoppers in there, but there's enough room on that track right there before he gets to that road to put 3 more. So he can get a total of 6 hoppers in there. And look who's doing the work, guys. 6951. All right, so let's walk a little further. All the freight doors on here, such as that one, you can see that, were custom built by me. I added extra vessels up here with piping, up here and up here. This here, from here to here, is the basic kit, which was the Red Wing mill, and I added this extension wall and this extension wall here. Now again, this is another scratch build right here. Now you can see the door a bit better. It was scratch built by me. The entire building was scratch built by me, and all of these buildings can be removed and replaced to the exactly same spot. I'll show you here in a minute. Because I have to think about how I'm going to ship this thing. So all of these buildings will come off of here and they will lock in to where they belong, and I'll show you what I mean. I could pull that building up and it comes up with the pipe. But as you can see down here, there is a piece of number 175 stripping, styrene stripping. So when I put this building back in here, it just locks right in. And I did the same thing for this building, and I did the same thing for that building. I am not going to secure the silos, only because I have the shipping issues to deal with. But I'm not 100% sure if this is how this is going to stay here. I'm not really happy with it. I may just put the elevator on the other side, right up next to the silos, and just pretend that there's a auger that goes from here to the elevator. I'm not 100% sure yet. Roof details, I put these cyclone venters up here. I added extra stacks. Now again, for shipping purposes, I made these removable. So I can pull it off like that. And then these guys, the same thing, just pull it off like that. And once he gets it, if he wants to secure those, he can do that. If not, he can leave it just the way they are. It would be just fine. All right, let's walk around this side now. First I need to get this light a little further back so I don't crash into it. Oops, sorry about that. All right, on this side here, again, the 2 doors, they are ground level doors, also scratch built by me. And what I did was, I don't know if you guys watched the entire video of the builds that I have done. for this particular project. I took the metal siding that the building is made of and I just went 90 degrees with it, and it looks like a roll-up door. Alright, next I'm going to do is this guy here is also removable. Again, for shipping purposes. So all he has to do is just put that back on, and again, if he wants to secure it, that's fine. If he doesn't want to secure it, that's fine also. Then here, piping. This piping is secured to the concrete floor. So that means when these silos go in, they can only go in so far, and that's it, period. This is another vessel that I did for him. Again, we have a pipe that goes across to the building. I want to make this look like something was happening in this build, you know, not just a stagnant building. So I hope I accomplished that. And Matt, I hope you like what I've done for you. I think that this is probably one of my best builds I have done. And Matt wants to name this Cousin Vinny's Food Processing. I told him he can name it whatever he wants, but I'm not going to get any decals made for that. Anyhow, I hope you guys and gals enjoyed this video and this build. And as always, your questions, comments, inputs, subs, shares, and likes are always welcome. For now, that's all, folks. BNSF 6951 and the Cuz out for now.